Poppin' everyone, Adima here. Now, you may or may not have seen my videos covering the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus and the Umidigi Power 3. If you haven't, I'll link them up above. But then in this video, I'm going to be comparing these two battery monster phones to see which one is the better value for money and which one you should consider getting. So let's get into it. Now, in the design department, the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a plastic back with a glossy finish, no gradient design on top of it, which I like because all of these gradient designs are getting a bit too flashy for my liking. But then the only problem I actually have with this design is that it is an absolute fingerprint magnet. I'm not even joking. Like, the first time I picked the phone up, I just held it for like 3 seconds, then I turned the back and wow, it was something to talk about. It was very annoying, but it's something that you can live with. You can either just put the case on that comes with it in the box, or you simply use it like that, or just don't buy the phone entirely. The Umidigi Power 3 has a non-glossy back. It's plastic too, but then you just don't have to deal with fingerprints anymore, which is very good. Another thing that will actually stand out in the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus is the fact that there is a dedicated button for the Google Assistant. So basically it's that red button you're seeing over there that just makes sure that you don't say, oh no, don't worry, I won't say it, and then your Google Assistant comes up and then you yell whatever command you want to yell at it. The Umidigi Power 3 does not have this. For some people, they'll actually like the dedicated Google Assistant button if you use Google Assistant a lot, but for other people, they may not just like this. So if that is something that may annoy you because you'll be getting accidental presses and the rest of them, and I know people complained a lot about this when we were looking into Samsung devices. So if you don't want accidental presses and you don't want an extra button there, then I don't think you should go for the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus. But what else does it have? Around the front, it has something that I actually like very well. It's a small convenience that you just cannot ignore, and it's the fact that the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a flash at the front, actually dual flash at the front, which is very good. Yes, in return you have to get like some very thick bezels, but then it's good because then that means if you're trying to take selfies in the night, then you have the flash to help, which is good. That's if you take selfies a lot. I actually don't, but it's just there for people that want to know. The Umidigi Power 3 does not have such a thing, which is unfortunate. It could probably use the entire screen as the flash by lighting up the screen, but we'll have to get the phone in hand to see. But then overall, it's a pretty good looking phone, the two of them. One thing that actually annoys me about the Umidigi Power 3 is that camera module. There are 4 cameras at the back, alright, I'll talk about the cameras later, but then the fact that this camera module resembles a lot, okay, not a lot, but come on, these phones, I don't even really like that camera module design. But the fact that it has 4 cameras is also a compromise. So you're like, what do I do? Do I do this or do I do the other? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. If you want the versatility of the cameras, when I talk about them you'll understand, then please go with the Umidigi Power 3. But if you don't actually like that design, like you just want a phone that your friends will look at and they'll be like, wow, where did you get this phone? Please, by all means, stick with the Tecno Pouvoir 3. Now, another thing that you may notice is the fact that the micro USB port is present on the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus, which means that it's not using a USB-C cable, it's using micro USB in 2019. I will not say anything. Whereas the Umidigi Power 3 uses a USB Type-C port. And then one thing that some people actually care about is the weight. Now, the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus weighs less than 200 grams, but then I have a feeling that the Umidigi Power 3 might be greater than 200 grams. I'm not sure, I don't have the phone, so I can't really say, but then just looking into other phones that they've released, like the Umidigi F1, the Umidigi F1 is on the heavy side, even though it's packing a 5150 mAh battery and NFC and all other things, but it's a bit on the heavy side, so I'm guessing it will follow along even in this phone, but we'll have to wait and see. The design is one place that actually is a bit controversial. Rather, it's just a big margin between the two. They both have 19.9:9 aspect ratio screens, but then the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a 720p screen. It's actually 720 by 1548, whereas the Umidigi Power 3 has a 1080p, rather 1440p screen with a 1080 by 2340 resolution. Wow, like it's a very big difference. Colors will be more sharp and vibrant. Videos won't be capped at 720p. I mean, there are a lot of benefits having a higher resolution screen. And then another thing is the bezels on the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus are very thick. Like I mentioned before, because of the fact that they had to fit a flash at the top of the phone, those bezels became thicker. The chin is absolutely massive. For some people, it doesn't compare to the Infinix S4's notch. And also, it's a turn off for me because those bezels are actually quite thick. You can live without it, it's totally normal. But then as for the Umidigi Power 3, the bezels are very minimal, and it doesn't have a notch actually, because the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a notch. What it has is a hole punch display at the left side of the screen, much like the Samsung Galaxy S10e. So that is good. I will say it's not bad at all in any way. And if you ask me, I'd rather take a hole punch than a notch, even though the notch has never bothered me since its onset. But the closer we get to having a full screen display, the more happy I am. But specs are a place where I just will never ever be happy in. I love my performance, and this is not a very good thing to talk about when you're talking to the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus. The Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a MediaTek Helio P22 processor with 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. What? MediaTek Helio P22? Why not P60? I mean, well, the Umidigi Power 3 has a MediaTek Helio P60, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of internal storage. Thank you. Like, why on earth would you put 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage on a phone in 2019? It's just absurd. By the time the Android system takes up like 10 to 12 gigs of internal storage space, you're left with about less than 20 gigs, which is absolutely useless. I mean, and then the MediaTek Helio P60 is the best offering that MediaTek had in 2018. It could handle PUBG at HD settings, high frame rates. You could dial like almost everything up and still you won't see a performance drop, which is very good. The MediaTek Helio P22, well, you're going to be stuck in close to low everything, which is just not there. And then the major highlights of these two phones, which is their battery, the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus has a 6000 milliamp hour battery as opposed to its elder brother, which had 5000, whereas the Umidigi Power 3 has a 6150 milliamp hour battery, which has 18 watts of fast charging, whereas the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus does not have fast charging. It just comes with a 10-watt charger in the box. Annoying? I will not lie. And because these batteries are huge, charging quickly is something that will actually come into play, because I don't want it to where, because I'm a very heavy user, I could be able to kill this phone in a day. I'm very sure of that. But I wouldn't just want that maybe if there's a power outage and then I manage to get like 5 minutes of electricity and then I plug my phone in and I don't even get up to like 3% out of it. That is just annoying. Tecno, work on this, please. And also the camera system. Now the camera department is where you see like a very major gap between these two phones. The Umidigi Power 3 has an amazing camera setup. It's very versatile. It comes with a 48 megapixel main camera, a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and a 5 megapixel macro lens. Just versatile and amazing. The Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus comes with a 13 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Not the best camera setup out there. I'm talking about the megapixel count, not the versatility. It's a very versatile camera if you ask me. Even though they are all missing telephoto lens, which would have been much more useful in my opinion. I prefer zooming in to subjects that are far away. But then ultra wide is still very awesome. I do take ultra wide shots sometimes when I get my hand on an ultra wide camera, so that is just there. But overall, these are like the major specs. I can't really do much on performance, but then if you look at these two, you now start to think which one is better. For me, I think the Umidigi Power 3 is a better buy. The back is not a fingerprint magnet. It's not a flashy design. I don't need a flashy design. It lacks the dedicated Google Assistant button. It's not a problem to me. It has a more versatile camera, even though it's a bit annoying that it resembles the iPhone 11 and Google Pixel 4, but then I can live with that. It has USB-C. It may be a bit heavier than the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus, which is something I don't actually look forward to, but in the end, there are compromises you must make to have the best things in life. It has a very high screen to body ratio with minimal bezels, very good specs, and ample storage. It also comes with Android 10 out of the box, and it supports every single LTE band in the world. So it means you don't need to worry about it supporting Glo 4G, even though Glo changed their 4G band recently. But after listening to all this, what do you think? Which phone do you think is better for you? Is it the Umidigi Power 3 or the Tecno Pouvoir 3 Plus? But I myself will be going for the Umidigi Power 3, definitely. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Peace.